All a bit of a disaster really for the Rugby World Cup. Kind of plunges the competition into chaos. Let's bring you through the newspapers. The back page of the Irish Independent. Two very interesting stories here. O'Leary eyes sponsor bid and new twist to Mayo dispute. Now this is good work here from Donnacha Boyle, who seems to have seen an email to the Mayo County Board from the New York-based trader Tim O'Leary, who obviously has been a major backer of Mayo GAA in recent years. He emailed the county's commercial manager, Tom Riley, expressing interest in submitting a tender for the sponsorship package, which is the naming rights to McHale Park and also the sponsor on the county jerseys. The language of the email is very interesting. It's come to my attention that Mayo GAA are in the process of seeking submissions for commercial sponsorship of the various teams to include the senior team and the naming rights to McHale Park. Can I ask you to accept this letter as an expression of my interest in submitting a tender for the sponsorship package? Can I ask that you please forward me a copy of the tender documents along with your bid assessment process? I trust the County Board will run a professional bid process with relevant governance structures in place. I look forward to hearing from you at your earliest convenience. So remember, he had written a very critical letter that was doing the rounds. The Irish Independent published it, saying that the foundation had ceased funding the County Board until appropriate governance structures are put in place.
I think we're seeing with Galway as well that the game of sports governance has changed. Now the FAI is obviously been a shining light in what shouldn't be done in recent times. And I think that kind of culture of accountability is spreading into everything in Irish sport and regarding the spotlight and the media coverage of it. And I think, like even we saw with the cost of the Porky Queeve. So I think that, can you centralise control a bit more into Croke Park? Would it be a good thing if that happened? Possibly. These stories, I don't know if I'd seen them a year ago or 2 years ago.
Well, there's certainly, it doesn't seem like any particular Irish sport is capable of looking at other Irish sports and going, everybody's got it. Just need to be careful a bit about this. The other, obviously, your man wrote that letter, went public about the money that they had spent on the do in New York, etc., and the contents of the letter were not dealt with at last month's County Board meeting, but I hadn't known this at the time. Mayo GAA Board Treasurer Kevin O'Toole told delegates he intended to reply to the allegations at the October meeting, which takes place next Wednesday. So, plenty of drama to be expected next Wednesday. He claimed that the foundation's letter contained a huge amount of misinformation. This is brilliant stuff. I will have a line-by-line reply in chronological order of the moving sands of the moving sands. Because there are more moving sands in the Mayo Foundation than there is in the Sahara.
And now it's in the papers.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think the thing is, letters can be written now and correspondence can be had, but it does get out.
Oh, yeah.
Much more.
You can't stick anything down in an email you don't want published.
No, you don't. It's like rule 101 of life, isn't it, in business?
So they're saying Henshaw's getting his chance, so Robbie Henshaw's going to play. The team, as expected to be named, is Tyke Byrne in the back row alongside Josh van der Fleer and CJ Stander, which is interesting because it means it's the front five, first choice. Healy, Best, Furlong, Henderson and James Ryan. It's Murray and Sexton. Wings are Stockdale and Earls, Bundy Aki and Robbie Henshaw and Jordan Larmour instead of Rob Carney, who's nursing an injury. So yeah, it'll be announced properly at 8. But that was the team that everybody got leaked yesterday. So
it's Carney, O'Mahony and Ringrose all just been rested. Look, we'll get the bonus point. There's nothing to worry about. It's more, the worry I have more so is that New Zealand and South Africa have a much bigger rest going into the quarter-final.
Yeah. And certainly South Africa, at least New Zealand had a game, certainly at least South Africa had a game. New Zealand don't.
Yeah, so I'm a bit worried about from a preparation point of view, how much we'll be in the backseat to the Southern Hemisphere nations, whoever we play.
The Daily Mirror, the back page. Duff at the top. This is some great news coming through in the last 24 hours. Talismanic defender Shane fit and ready to go for key battle as Irish fight to remain at summit. If he's fit and he's playing, that's heroic stuff to recover from injury in time for these games.
And he's training this week. No Enda Stevens because he's banned and no Richard Keogh because of other issues, as we know about. So if he's fit enough, he probably will be in there. McGoldrick didn't go to Georgia. But he could be in line to play against Switzerland on Tuesday. But yeah, it's Shane Duffy's a leader, and he's also great at set pieces.
Yeah, so it's like one of our best opportunities to score.
Yeah, exactly.
The Star, Health scare for Matt Doherty has revealed he endured a recent skin cancer scare before receiving the all clear on a growth on his lower lip. Stalemate in Clare, that was the other story coming through last night. Clare GAA is facing further turmoil after officials failed to ratify a new hurling manager at County Board meeting in Clare Abbey last night. So Brian Lohan, it emerged that Dalo was going to be part of his backroom team.
It usually would be the other way around, possibly, if you're looking at days gone yore. But I don't think the players are happy with the Donald Maloney situation. That there was a bit of delay and he withdrew. Maybe they might have wanted him to stay on. There's a kind of a, Louis McQueen, ticket with Fergal Lynch, I think, and Brendan Bugler might be kind of mooted behind that ticket, and then there's a kind of a Lohan Dalo ticket. So
all of these tickets would be good tickets, right?
Yeah, they would be.
They just need to make a call.
But they also need to sort their house out, because Clare have underperformed since winning that All-Ireland in 2013. The 3 under-21s, there's actually 4 under-21s if you go back to 2009. They didn't see the best of those young players.
No.
And also Paul Kinnerk leaving to go to Limerick was a huge blow for Clare. The biggest setback that Clare hurling had in the last few years was Paul Kinnerk going to John Kiley at Limerick.
Yeah.
We saw us coaching Nouse. But just get it sorted and get a plan in place, because Clare have underperformed. Like, they nearly were in the All-Ireland final last year, but it's been 2 stop-start.
Yeah, okay. So the back page of The Guardian is obviously a picture of the Typhoon World Cup in chaos as violent typhoon homes in on Yokohama. So that was before the news had come through that those games had been cancelled.
I was looking at Paul Hayward here this morning in the Telegraph. Tournament integrity depends on key match going ahead. That's all about the Typhoon. And also in the English Times, cancellation would risk credibility of the tournament, an article by Owen Slott. They're pretty confident that Japan-Scotland will go ahead, either with the Typhoon losing its teeth by Sunday night with a 7:45 local time kick-off in Yokohama on Sunday night, or moving it to Monday. But why would you be moving Scotland to Monday and not Italy?
Yeah, I guess because the game doesn't matter. Yeah. Except for the integrity of the tournament and for everybody involved in Italian rugby. Murray and Sexton to equal record in fully loaded lineup, and then Ireland need to knuckle down for Samoa, says Furlong. So, it's a good strong team. It's shitter bus time for Ireland, and then the rest of that is just reports from yesterday's games where Wales had a bit of trouble with Fiji. Great picture of Shane Lowry there, who's been asked questions by social media and what he thought of the new management setup. They did a press conference at the Italian Open.
Italian Open, yeah.
He ended up being asked about Fennelly, who named his backroom team. Actually, looks like a good, decent backroom team as well.
Yeah, the Racing Post has got Kavanagh says HRI will find a way to cater for extra demands. Efficiencies might be found following the government's decision not to increase authorities' funding for 2020. Too early to say what areas might be impacted, said Brian Kavanagh. So the allocation will remain at 80 million, 67.2 million goes to the horse racing industry. That's the horse and greyhound racing fund. Of course, the greyhound industry is under much more pressure than the horse racing industry at the moment.
The Daily Mail, that one, Duffy boost, key defender is available, but McGoldrick is out, and Ireland geared up for Georgia. So that is Colin Robinson in jovial form at Abbottstown yesterday. Mark Gallagher and the Irish gymnast who's setting new standards is Rhys McLennan, and Henshaw chomping at the bit to play Samoa. So all we need is for Robbie Henshaw to come back and look like the old Robbie Henshaw, and for Johnny Sexton to be good again, and we'll all be able to have a week of believing that if the game goes ahead in the quarterfinals, almost suggesting it could be moved to the deep south of Japan. So let's wait and see what happens there.
Yeah, this is a very sad story. A true son of Down, Moran County, in the shock of the death of Eamon Burns. He was only in his mid-50s. It's terrible. It's terribly sad, an All-Ireland winner in the 1990s. Duffy Cowmey in back at the Herald. Defender texted McCarthy to tell him he's fit. Do people still text? I thought they WhatsApped these days.
Nick doesn't have WhatsApp, who knows?
The Sun, priceless. Foden is the only player we'd ever sell, never sell even, not even for 500 million. That's such a tabloid story. The back of the Sun. When the going gets tough, Duffy gets going. A bit of Billy Ocean for your morning on Off the Ball AM. Typhoon clash, but Rob's out. That's Rob Carney we're talking about here on Off the Ball's newspaper slot.
Right.